Alright, now this is a video that I've wanted to make for a while, and I saw this commented a bunch, and I thought this would be a great idea, so I can't find the specific comment, but you know who you are if you commented this. I'm going to discuss some of Fortnite's most fun and unique items of all time. These are just some of these weapons or items that, yeah, you know, you may not win the game with them, but you're gonna have a great time playing with them, and they're just a total blast to use. I hope you guys enjoy the updated, higher resolution clip quality, and with all that being said, let's get right into it. So firstly, I want to talk about the Spider-Man web shooter mythics from chapter 3. And you're going to see with a couple of weapons and items on this list that while some of them are fun, some of them are actually very good, useful, and practical in your actual game, while some aren't. But the Spider-Man web shooters are actually very, very good. I think you have a very fair argument here for potentially the best mobility item of all time. And I think it needs to be said, the mechanics and physics behind the Spider-Man web shooter, the actual slinging animation, was unreal, and it was amazing. I remember at the time it was being compared to being better than the actual branded Spider-Man game itself. They felt super fun to use, great mobility, great way to get across the map, and my only knock with these is when someone else was using them, they were really annoying because you could do 170, 180 damage, and in a snap of your fingers, they would just be gone instantly. But yeah, guys, I think the Spider-Man web shooting mythics, they definitely need to come back. I really think they should. A great mobility item, and absolutely one of the most fun items we have ever seen in Fortnite. Next, let's talk about the exotic Flint knock pistol. So this pistol was actually exclusive to Laser Beam and Fresh's game mode / tournament, however you want to look at it. And it was dubbed the Yeet pistol just for that reason. You would shoot it, it would absolutely send you flying, and whoever you hit absolutely flying. Again, this is an interesting one because it was not in public battle royale matches, but rather just an exclusive tournament. But there's no denying that it is absolutely one of the most fun, if not honestly the most fun item we have ever seen in Fortnite. The amount of clips and honestly just great content that I saw coming from this weapon should honestly just say all that needs to be said about the enjoyment factor of this weapon. And I honestly think Fortnite just kind of needs to return to adding more goofy weapons like this, even if it is in creator exclusive tournaments and not battle royale. Like, these are the types of fun weapons and items that made Fortnite special in the first place. And so I think there's, you know, absolutely no doubt in my mind this is one of the most fun items we have ever seen. All right, how about we go to a relatively recent one, and let's talk about the Shockwave Hammer from chapter 4 season 1. I genuinely missed the Shockwave Hammer, and this is another example of one of those weapons that, while it was super fun to use, it was actually really, really good. And I think there is something to be said about finding that balance between making an item super fun, but also making it usable and practical to the point where people can actually get, you know, good usage out of it. And as I previously mentioned, it did both of those well. And so you had, of course, the bouncing effect, I'll say for lack of a better term, where you would, you know, kind of just hit the hammer to the ground and you would just bounce around the map, right? But then you also had the slam effect, right, where you would just absolutely slam that hammer down and you would just send everybody flying. The amount of clips and memes and funny content that I saw came straight from this Shockwave Hammer in chapter 4 season 1 was unbelievable. And I remember seeing people, you know, were slamming them into cars were going flying. You know, it was just such a cool item. It kind of has the same pros and cons as the web slingers, right? Like, it was a great form of mobility, and honestly one of the best forms of mobility, but at the same time it was annoying because if you did damage to someone, snap of a finger, they're gone, see you later. I had endless amounts of fun using the Shockwave Hammer, and I'm sure so many other people did. I don't know that I would like to see it return because it was really, really broken and strong, but it was so fun to use, and so for that, it is definitely going to make my list for some of the most fun weapons in Fortnite history. And let's go way back to Chapter 2, Season 7, and let's talk about the Inflatable. The Inflatable is honestly one of the most goofy items we have ever seen, and again, as I previously mentioned, this is one of those items that just really defines what Fortnite was. And if you're seeing a common theme here, a lot of these are mobility items. I don't know why that is. They just are some of the more fun weapons to use. And if you don't know, the Inflatable was exactly that, honestly. You would just blow up a big inflatable bull and you would just literally bounce around the map. It was unreal. And again, just all the memes that spawned out of this, like the fact that you were on the Fortnite island inside of a cow just flying around the map is the most unreal thing. And again, even just talking about this, I can't even believe that this was in the game. We just don't get items like this anymore. The inflatable was an absolute blast to use, and just as I said previously with the hammer and the web slingers, this was not only fun to use, it was practical. This is again one of the best forms of mobility we've ever seen. Overall, there's no doubt in my mind, when I think of fun Fortnite weapons, this was honestly one of the first ones that came to my mind. So the inflatable was definitely going to make it onto this list 100%. And next, we're going to keep the trend going of mobility items, and let's talk about balloons all the way from chapter 1, of course, up until chapter 4 plus. Balloons are an interesting one for a couple reasons. I would say one, you could really, pair balloons with other things to make it fun. Like the balloons in themselves, yes, they're fun, but they're not that good. But if you want to pair that with, let's say, a Shockwave Hammer from chapter 4 season 1 and some augments, you were really gonna fly in the air, go halfway across the map. Like, it was a fun time. I will say the balloons themselves, especially when we're talking about the chapter 1 version, were a little more tame than some of the items we've seen on this list so far, but the ability within like 10 seconds to just go straight to the sky is really cool. And I think this is one of the more balanced items that we have seen, because within 2 or 3 bullets, shoot the balloons, down you go. Again, I will say this is more tame, right? Because let's be honest, you pop 2-3 balloons, you're just going straight up and down the air. You're not going horizontal. You're not going flying off the map. You know what I'm saying? But again, balloons became really fun when you paired them with other things. Pair them with the dub shotgun, pair them with the flint knock, then you're really going to be having a good time. So while the balloons are a little bit less practical than some of the items on this list, I definitely think they're super fun and definitely deserve to be on this list for some of Fortnite's most fun items of all time. Finally, let's talk about one of the more recent items on this list. Let's talk about the rocket ram. I vividly remember chapter 4 season 3, I believe, coming out and seeing the trailer and seeing this in there and being like, what did I just watch? This is going to cause absolute chaos. And that's exactly what it did. You just hold on to the ram and you just shoot flying into the air, flying straight in front of you. Wherever you want it to go, the rocket ram could take you. And you just kind of have that cool moment when you're using the rocket ram, when you shoot straight up and it's like a roller coaster. You're at the top of the hill and you just kind of slowly go down and you kind of get your velocity and just go flying down and you do a ton of damage. Like, I'm even smiling while talking about it just because the rocket ram was such a fun item to use, such a unique item to use. And again, one of those examples of Fortnite really showing their creative juices flowing. I know they have them in there, they just got to bring them out more often, and this was a great example of that. Of course, you're seeing a common theme here. Most of the mobility items are the ones that are the most fun, and so those are the ones that are making it on this list, but I genuinely think the rocket ram deserves to be on here. It dealt good damage, good mobility, and was good fun to use. So to me, that checks all the boxes to make it onto this list. So yeah, guys, that's my final list for some of Fortnite's most fun items of all time. Of course, there are tens of hundreds of more items that are so fun to use, and of course, fun is a very subjective term depending on the person, but I know I definitely missed a few, so let me know in the comments below your thoughts on some of Fortnite's most fun items, and if you guys would like to see a part 2, because I could absolutely do that, as I often do. But guys, with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.